to order. Mr. Barbieri, is there anything to report from executive session? Thank you, sir. With that, we will do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Ms. Harlow, we're going to move the minutes to the end of the meeting tonight. As far as presentations, apparently there was an issue with the Clippard family, so we're not going to be able to do that one tonight. We'll move that to our next board meeting. That leaves us with the Energy Alliance Gas Aggregation Savings Report.
Spence Faxon is going to give us a report here on how we did this past quarter.
Okay. Thank you. Dylan. Okay. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Spence from Energy Alliances, and I'm here to report how well we did last winter in the aggregation program during the extremely cold period. In our work with Integris and with the help, again, of the trustees and the administration giving us the opportunity to do the work, we were able to save over $250,000 during those 4 months. It was good to be able to do, obviously, during that time when the bills were skyrocketing, to keep them down and to give the savings. You may note what I passed out is an analysis showing the savings during those months. And as you can see, everything is included in the analysis, and that includes, of course, the sales tax. You might also note that under the February that the savings is lower, and that's because there was an adjustment that Duke made where they found over collections in the previous year and they dropped their GCR. We look forward in the coming year for their charge to probably have an adjustment that will go up because the prices were so high last winter. I'm sure they didn't recover all of their costs.
Good evening. I'm Sydney Trout with Energy Alliances. Not only has Energy Alliances partnered with Colerain Township in energy aggregation, but now both Energy Alliances and Integris Energy are new members and supporters of Colerain Township's new Chamber of Commerce. In fact, we have a combined contribution to the new chamber of $5,000. We appreciate the opportunity.
I believe you guys have a presentation you'd like to make. You want to make that to the trustees with a picture? Yes. Great.
Okay, next would be public safety reports.
Good evening. Few items on police and fire departments. First is Chief Denny's set the dates for the remainder of the year for his Coffee with a Cop opportunity to meet with residents and business owners of the township. The closest one before our next meeting is July 31st. That'll be hosted at the Red Squirrel Those are at 9 a.m., Chief? 9 a.m.? And I'll give you the rest of the dates as we reach them, but had good success with that earlier in the year, and he's got a great following. Second item is September 8th.
Dan, before you leave that one?
Sure.
So give us a flavor of the feedback you got. Was there any, consistent message, that you received back from the residents? What was the feedback generally? And not only on the Coffee with the Cop, program, but in terms of issues facing the township, was there anything pervasive that kept coming up that, was learning for you?
A lot of general questions. What the driving force of police service in your neighborhood is. A lot of excitement about the orthopedic and the Colerain revitalization. Just a lot of questions about the township in general.
Okay. On the opportunity side, anything, negative that consistently came up?
Actually, no. We had one or two in the very first meeting that had some negative comments, basically about the levy. But other than that, it's been very positive. Officers, volunteers, and just great friends.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
The next item is a reminder that September 8th is the annual Police and Fire Golf Outing that's held at Pebble Creek Golf Course up on, oh, goodness gracious.
Prechtel.
Thank you, Prechtel Road. Another opportunity to reach into the community is the Veterans Outreach Program. Similar to the CARE initiative to identify veterans that are returning home or have served no matter what capacity, is the public safety relationship with those folks, and the chief and his veterans committee that is made up of firefighters, police officers from all generations of service, as well as two recently serving veterans, have announced that they're holding their first event at the Charles Gailey VFW on Brownsway on August 2nd, 2014. The official name of their Veterans Initiative is Hope for Heroes. And after the opening picnic, the purpose is to operate similar to the Family Justice Center approach and provide 1 day a week at the Community Resource Center on Colerain Avenue, in which benefits coordinators and folks that provide benefit services to the veterans can be available for our veterans to get assistance. There's certainly a wide variety of assistance, whether it be medical or psychological or housing or whatever the case may be. The goal is to provide, again, a one-stop shop opportunity for these veterans that are returning home, and the needs are wide, and our service to these young men and women is, we think it's necessary because they've given to us, and it's an opportunity for us to give back. And again, we facilitate the operation with very little, almost no overhead, because all we're doing is providing a space that's already open and bringing the smart people and the educated people to provide some assistance to our community. So the folks are very excited about that. Again, our firefighters and our veterans, it's a great opportunity to give back, and we view it to be a great service to our community. So next item is a letter received in thanks to the fire department. It's the Colerain Township Fire Department. Scott Angus and family offer our sincere, heartfelt thanks for your bravery and excellence in extinguishing the devastating fire that destroyed our Woodsong Drive home on May 19th. Your respect, compassion, and kindness were exceptional and deeply appreciated. We also wish to express our special thanks to the two firemen involved in the recovery and return of the Memorial American flag to Miss Angus. This flag was used in the military service at her husband's funeral. It is special to the entire Angus family. Our loss was great and laced with much sadness, including the death of Belle, one of our two resident dogs. Thankfully, the other dog, Gravy, survived and is doing well despite the loss of his friend. In our opinion, Colerain and Springfield Townships have chosen the cream of the crop, emergency professionals to protect the area citizens. We are blessed to be the recipients of such outstanding services. We wish you everlasting safety, success, and happiness. Sincerely, Scott Angus and family. That was received on June 24th. So again, I think that's a representation of the quality of folks that we have working for us. And finally, this is a letter of thanks to Chief Denny from Will Mueller, Captain, overseeing the EMS operations for Colerain Fire. So I'd like to extend a special thank you and a word of appreciation for the efforts several of your officers exerted during the apparent overdose incident that occurred on the evening of Tuesday, July 1 at 4200 Springdale Road, actually outside the rear door of the police department. Several of your officers acted quickly and efficiently while rendering first responder care to a critical apparent overdose patient that was literally dropped off at your doorstep. Initial efforts and information gathered no doubt led to successful outcome of this individual's medical condition. I personally was able to witness their actions of CPR and automated external defibrillation application. These critical steps led perfectly down the path towards the next step in treatment, which was advanced cardiac life support. Your officers on the scene set up our fire and EMS crews perfectly. With the combined efforts of our team, successful resuscitation of the individual was the final outcome. It's through our actions like these, working together for the betterment of the team, that we can achieve positive outcomes for our residents and customers. There are too many officers on the scene to gather all the names. I'm sure you know who they are. Please pass on the word of thanks and a job well done that we're all involved. I read that to you because, again, I think we're working towards an operation of cooperation and realizing that that is what we're seeing, and those are the things that our folks do on a regular basis. But it was, and I asked Will if it was okay if I read that to the board tonight and to our residents to understand these are some of the things that our officers and firefighters are faced with, and they jump in without thinking another thought of it and do what's necessary, and it can lead to the point where you're actually saving the life. And again, Chief Denny's started the investigation to recognize those officers that were so important in the saving of that young lady's life. So appreciate your time tonight and opportunity to present that information to you.
Thank you, Mr. I was going to call you Chief. I'll stop one of these days, I promise. Trustee report, I have two things tonight. One, Kevin can talk about a little more. As many of you came in here tonight, I'm sure you saw the banner for the Taste of Colerain, August 8th and 9th. Updates, I'm sure, will be on that, on the website as far as dates, time, that kind of stuff. But put it out there because we only have one other meeting month before that. So Taste of Colerain, August 8th and 9th. On a bigger note, as many of you have probably read by now, Ms. Key did an article in the Cincinnati Enquirers on Cincinnati.com about our Rumpke situation. We have, as everyone knows, been in litigation with Rumpke for some time. Part of that process is always trying to work something out in a legal battle. As part of that, we did enter into some mediation. A tentative sort of agreement has been reached that now we would like public feedback on. We're not taking it tonight because we have an entire meeting dedicated to this on July the 21st at 6 p.m. Right next door at the community center. We would encourage everyone to come out that night and voice their opinion about this. We also sent out a newsletter indicating to everyone exactly the breakdown of what that agreement would entail. That is getting mailed out this Friday, so hopefully everyone will have that by next week. A copy of that newsletter, as well as the actual legal document, is on our webpage right now. So if you don't want to wait for the newsletter, or if you technically actually really want to read the legal document, it is on our website. Feel free to go and read it. Ms. Key also, tomorrow, isn't it, Jenny? Tomorrow's Northwest Press, the article will run again about the whole story about everything. So I don't see that anybody signed in to speak about it tonight, but we are going to save comment on that until the July 21st meeting. So that is all I have tonight.
I have no report tonight.
The only comment I wanted to make is that, with regard to the Rumpke litigation, it makes pretty much every decision I've made in the last 8.5 years look small compared to this one. So my point is I really value everybody's feedback on this and look forward to hearing it in the weeks ahead. Very important. Thanks.
Next up, we have citizens address. I believe Mr. Bishop was with the, okay, he signed in, but he was with that other group. So I have Miss is it Bardis?
Hello, my name is D. Ellen Bardis. I live on Paxton and Hyde Park, but I am a fourth great granddaughter of the Sillies and Hedges, buried at Hedges Cemetery at Dunlap Station, as you all are aware. For many years, I've been trying to work on finalizing the ownership question in order that we can proceed on doing further things with the cemetery in terms of preservation. I am now at an important crossroads, and I need to get before you three trustees to try to ask to get on your agenda somewhere. I don't know the proper way to request this, but I have brought a little sign here below me that shows the warranty deed from 1910. One of the reasons I mention this is because I believe that Hamilton County Commissioners are really perpetuating a bit of a fraud on me and on you all, and that I'm afraid a mess is going to be generated unless we try to look at the entirety of this project a little bit more seriously. I have finally, the issue is now ripe. I am having to consider whether I have to go into litigation and sue many parties in order to get really a determination of the ownership on the warranty deed from 1910. The reason I'm stressing this is because we now, after sending 25 exhibits to the prosecuting attorney's office from my own personal files to them via email, waiting for an answer, the prosecuting attorneys has advised the Hamilton County Commissioners that they believe that a 1950 statute is binding on who owns Hedges Cemetery, which you also call Dunlap Station Cemetery. It is my humble opinion, in going down to the law library, the 1950 statute, of course, doesn't really apply to my 1910 deed. And I've gone through the legalese in going backwards. I think that I have to beg you all not to jump into thinking that, yes, you now suddenly own the cemetery because of this two-line, poorly written, not supported letter, and please let us have a hearing to look at this. We have more complicated matters. There's a 100-year-old escrow account that nobody is coming forth with that was set forth in Mary Hedges' 1920 will. I want to know where that money is, and you all are going to want to know too, because I'm going to ask you here to spend a lot of money on fixing the cemetery, and one of the questions that's going to come up is, well, Dee, what happened to the escrow account for 100 years? And you know, I've gotten so much information over there that then you all have gotten a different speck of information. And, you know, we really need to look at this issue before proceeding. So I am asking, one, to get on your agenda properly, two, for you all to agree that you're not going to move forward on accepting ownership until ownership can be judicially determined or mediated determined or some formal way, because I believe that's still in question. I'm happy to answer questions, but I have a backload of information.
I have a question. Can we take a step back for a second and tell us, start at the beginning and say, what's the outcome that you want? Yeah, I'm not clear also what you're asking the board, but what's the outcome that you want ultimately with respect to the cemetery?
The outcome has to do with the preservation, the historic recognition, the fence, the tombstones, the securing, the replacing of the tombstones.
You want the township to assume ownership over the maintenance. That's what you want ultimately.
Oh, no, sir. Now, I am not talking about Kevin's grass cutting. You know, we are now at a higher level. But what happens is the problem lies in this 1910 warranty deed. So this is where the crux is, if you haven't gotten a chance to look at it yourself. In 1910, the three current Hamilton County commissioners accept transfer. It's all recorded. It's all filed. Mary Hedges was going to died in 1920. Miss Mary Hedges was the last member of our Hedges family to own it. We've done extensive deed work. It works fine, but Mary transferred it to these three people and to their successors in office. I believe that we have a valid transfer from 1910 that then should be upheld. And to you all, it's extremely important because it's also to mean that the Hamilton County should have been paying and supporting, been fixing the cemetery for the last 100 years, and this has not happened.
You want the county commissioners to accept, ownership, quote unquote, and that entails, the maintenance and everything that goes with it.
But you're saying the prosecutor's office is telling, because that's their attorney, is telling you that they don't own it, that we own it, because of something in 1950. There you go.
Yes. So they did a very sloppy letter, despite the fact I sent them all this stuff. So anyway, they're just trying to pull the wool over my eyes. I am very upset about this, and I don't know if I have to file litigation against the three present guys, because we're now not looking at the county to own it. I'm looking at Todd and, Greg and the other. Thank you, Chris. So it's complicated, because that's not my goal, to sue them. And then if we do approve that really they do own it, then what? And, what are the implications, and what about the money? Because it's going to come down to money, as we're all well aware. And you all aren't going to have the $50,000, $100,000 to do these wonderful things. And then you're going to say, well, the county should have done that during their last 100 years of ownership, even if things are changing this month.
Okay, that helps. Thank you.
Do you two have questions on this?
No.
All right. Thank you.
That was the only other person signed in to speak tonight. Was there anyone else? Okay. Next, we have public services.
Okay, thank you. I have 3 items from the police department for the board's action. First item is the donation acceptance. The police department received a $5,000 donation from the Joseph Toyota Company as thanks and appreciation for the police department's efforts. I ask the board to accept that donation, allow us to accept that.
So moved.
Second. Aye.
Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Bitter?
Aye.
Second item is an appointment of a full-time police officer. This officer is being requested to fill a vacancy created by the resignation of another police officer here recently. We're asking for the appointment of Robert Brinkman to the position of full-time police officer. He currently serves in the role of reserve police officer. In the 6 months that he has worked for the police department, he's volunteered over 500 hours to the township. He'd fill the vacancy again created by the recent resignation of one of our full-time officers. His annual salary would be $47,520.28, and he will contribute to 20% towards his health care. And his full-time appointment would be effective July 6, 2014. Ask for the board's approval.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Peters?
Aye.
Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Bitter?
Aye.
Next item is the appointment of reserve police officers. We respectfully request the appointment of Ms. Tara Dujanero to the position of reserve police officer. She is a 2011 graduate of the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office Police Academy and currently employed or serves as a special deputy. She's a 2005 graduate of Harrison High School, attends the University of Cincinnati and Cincinnati State. She has agreed to pay the $1,000 for the purchase of her equipment and reimburse the township and the police department for the hiring process prorated over 3 years if she should separate from the department. Her appointment is obviously conditional on the successful passage of her medical and psychological evaluation and the board's approval. We ask for the board's approval this evening.
So moved. Second.
Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Bitter?
Aye.
And lastly, for the police department, request the appointment of Mr. Siddharth Sharma to the position of reserve police officer. Mr. Sharma is 31 years old and currently a police officer with another Hamilton County police agency. He is married and a 2009 graduate of the Great Oaks Police Academy and currently resides in the city of Fairfield. He has also agreed to pay the $1,000 for the purchase of his equipment and agrees to reimburse the department for the hiring process costs in the amount of $2,000 prorated over the 3 years, should he separate from the police department. Again, his appointment is conditional on the successful passage of a medical and psychological evaluation, as well as your approval. We ask for your approval this evening.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Bitter?
Aye.
All right, in respect to the fire department, we have 5 action items for your approval. The first is a part-time staff and pay rate change. Just to give you a little oversight, as you know, for the past 6 months, I've been reviewing the operation of the fire department, and as you know, the majority of the employees for the fire department are part-time and have a long history of part-time service as a majority of their employees. In turn, that history has allowed for the promotion of a part-time officer staff, meaning outside of firefighters, part-timers have been promoted through the ranks. Well, with the recent transformation of the fire department and the need for those part-time officers is not as prevalent. So what I'm asked the board to do is adjust the rates of pay for the part-time officers from an officer position to a part-time firefighter position. So the first would be Roger Sarwine, part-time firefighter with a pay rate of $15.28 an hour. The second would be Mr. Steve Lawson, again to part-time firefighter at a pay rate of $15.28 an hour. Third would be Mr. Shannon Hayden, part-time firefighter, pay rate of $14.40 an hour. I have a separate one, but I think I might want to present it to you differently because he's going to remain in the officer position, but because of the job that he's doing, there's going to be a separate pay rate for each job. Does that make sense?
I'm looking at it right now, yes.
So we'll approve the part-time firefighter rates, and then we'll come back to Mike Rena. Is that okay? So I ask for your approval for the part-time firefighter rating. But
So moved. Second?
Sorry, Ms.
Aye.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I seconded.
okay.
Or did I make? You made the motion.
Apologies.
Peters?
Aye.
Reinhardt? Aye. Ms. Ritter?
Aye.
Okay, and the next is for Mike Reenan. He serves as a division chief. He'll maintain that rank and his pay for all command-related functions. That's a pay rate of $20.70 an hour, but while he's handling the training responsibilities and administrative responsibilities, he'd be paid at a rate of $16.61 an hour. So again, if he's functioning as he serves in the role of a division chief, command officer at a scene, he'll be paid appropriately, but for his duties that are administrative and function, he'll be paid for that. So again, $20.70 for his chief duties and $16.61 for his administrative and non-command officer activities. Ask for the board's approval.
So moved. A second? Aye.
Reinhardt?
Aye.
Ms. Ritter?
Aye.
Next one is for part-time paramedic and part-time firefighter EMT appointments. Chief Smith's recommending board approval to hire Vanessa Cure Washington as a part-time paramedic. She has expressed interest in rejoining the department. She was employed previously from 2007 to 2011, and she's completed all the necessary pre-employment processing as well as a physical examination. Only requires the board's approval. The established pay rate for this position is $14.87 an hour, and the effective date is July 6th of 2014. Request the board's approval.
So moved. Second. Aye.
Reinhardt?
Aye.
Aye.
And they recommend the following hiring of part-time firefighter EMT Anthony John Mulfetta, as well as Kirsten Nicole Worth. Both firefighters have approximately 3 years of experience working at other fire and EMS departments in the area, and they're scheduled to complete the paramedic training in August of 2014. They have successfully fulfilled the pre-employment requirements as well as a recent physical examination. The rate of pay for both candidates is $13.91 an hour, and their effective date is July 6th of 2014.
So moved. Second? Aye.
Reinhardt?
Aye.
Ms. Ritter?
Aye.
As you're aware, fire departments conducted a selection process from 27 part-time candidates to fill the 4 full-time firefighter paramedic positions. In doing so, they've identified 4 candidates as a recommendation to the board. First is Andrew T. Mott. He's been employed with the Township as a firefighter paramedic since 2013. He works for 3 other fire and EMS departments. He has an associate's degree in paramedic science, associates in technical studies from the University of Cincinnati Raymond Walters. He's currently working towards a bachelor's degree in applied health at Youngstown State University. He's a certified fire safety inspector. The starting salary for him is $43,907.76. Effective date of hire is August 3 of 2014. And he'll serve a 1-year probationary period. Ask the board for the board's approval. Don't we usually do the full-time hires individually? Does it matter? Would you?
Make a motion to, for all 4.
Okay, then I'll just give you all 4. The next is Eric Reifenberger, employed in the township since 2005. He's been employed full-time since 2011 with the fire department in Northern Kentucky. He has a bachelor's degree in education from the College of Mount St. Joe. He's an adjunct instructor in paramedic medicine at the Gateway Community College. Next is Kirsten Gabbard. She's employed part-time with the fire department as a medic firefighter since June of 13. She also works as a part-time firefighter paramedic at 2 other fire departments. Attended Miami University in Oxford and certified fire safety inspector. And last is a Jacob J. Merkel. He's been employed with the township as a firefighter paramedic since 2011. Works as a part-time medic and firefighter with 2 other area agencies. He has a bachelor's degree in graphic design from the College of Mount St. Joe. He also is a certified fire inspector. All 4 candidates finished in the top third of the process. Additionally, received favorable comments and recommendations from their captain's interview panel and from their supervisors and coworkers over the past several years. They successfully completed or fulfilled all the necessary pre-employment requirements and are requested by the board for their approval. Again, the starting salary for all 4 candidates is $43,907.76. All 4 will serve a 1-year probationary period. And again, the effective start date for all 4 would be August 3, 2014.
I already made the motion. Second. Aye.
Reinhardt?
Aye.
Aye.
Certainly last but not least, we are excited to present to the board the candidates who finished at the top of the firefighter paramedic selection list for shift lieutenant. The following candidates received the 5 highest scores and are being recommended for promotion to shift lieutenant. In no particular order: Steve Hammonds, firefighter Shane Packer, firefighter paramedic Dave Simonson, firefighter Matthew Vangen, and firefighter Craig Wollenweber. Effective date is July 9, and the contractual annual salary for these positions is $73,515.95. I ask for your board's approval for these officers to be promoted.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Before we call the roll, can you just, for anybody who's watching tonight, can you just kind of do a quick flyby again about the rationale for the shift lieutenant position and how you came to that conclusion and what the intent is and motivation?
Absolutely. During the review of the organization of the fire department, it was obvious to me that the level of work and the frequency and volume associated with services provided by our fire department is high. It's a high level of medic service as well as fire service. It's one of the most respected organizations in the region, and we are providing a high level of medical services as well as firefighting service, and the need for first-line supervisions is important, and the on-scene supervisor decision-making process is huge. And as a part of a larger transition, these first-line supervisors were important to the organization, especially at our two busiest houses, which is Galbraith Road and Springdale Road at the previous fire headquarters near Beavis. The new lieutenant positions are going to staff the outlying stations as well as provide assistance to the captains at the Galbraith Road and Springdale Road firehouses because they are the largest assignment of personnel, and when you respond on scene, you have leadership responsibilities, and the span of control is necessary to take care of our firefighters as well as the emergency services that are required. And over a transition of time, the captains that are currently staffing our outlying stations will be replaced by lieutenants. So over time, the captains that serve in the other 3 houses will be transitioned to positions, the lieutenant's positions. And the only captains will be in the specialized functions of EMS operations, training, and inspections, as well as the captains that serve at Springdale Road and Galbraith Road. So over time, those current captains' positions are going to be, I don't want to say eliminated, but they're going to be transitioned to the lieutenant rank. So lieutenant rank is going to provide that first-line supervision, and it gives us an opportunity to develop leaders as well as provide that supervision and decision-making responsibility at the scene level as well as the day-to-day service level. So we believe that it's necessary.
Yep.
Thank you.
Call the roll.
Yes.
Ms. Peters?
Aye.
Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Bitter?
Aye.
The next item is a recommendation to establish a new part-time firefighter classification, firefighter 2B, with an authorized staff of 40 positions. This is going to be a pilot program that would run for 1 year and be evaluated in its process. Classification requires each part-time 2B employee to work regular scheduled shifts as assigned by the department for a minimum of 2,200 hours per year. 2B employees meeting all requirements of the program will be offered health care in accordance with the resolution that's attached establishing the program. Basically, the current insurance provided full-time employees is at a platinum level. These firefighters would be provided an opportunity to take part in the gold plan, and rather than, as you heard me offer for the full-time employees at the 20% contribution level, part-time employees would be allowed to contribute at a 40% level, and they'll be provided the opportunity to take care of themselves and their children, and their spouses would be excluded in this process. The goal is an opportunity to identify quality people that can provide an additional amount of service. As we've learned over the previous 6-8 months, is 1,500-hour requirements on employees. Firefighters across the country work a lot of hours at a lot of different departments to provide their service. And there's a lot of young men and women that work for Colerain Fire in the past that worked 22, 23, 2,500 hours in a year because a normal firefighter year is 2,756 hours of service. So this is a midline in allowing us to fill our shifts and provide the proper service and staffing levels to take care of our community as well as the safety of our firefighters. This is an opportunity to approach them and offer them a benefit that is not necessarily, they're not being provided sick time, they're not being provided vacation, not being provided any of those ancillary benefits that full-time employees get. It's just an insurance opportunity to take care of themselves and their children and allow them to work an additional 700 hours for our fire department. And rather than going out and working somewhere else, they're going to work it here and fulfill the responsibilities that are necessary in Colerain Township. And Mr. Rowan, certainly.
Yes, I just have a couple questions. So it's important to recognize that we will have two part-time classifications, one for those that are working less than 1,500 hours a year that will not be offered health care benefits, and then this second classification for part-time employees. The reason it's a one-year pilot program is that we believe it's going to be budget neutral from the perspective that we have been backfilling a number of part-time vacancies with career firefighters at a much higher cost. So we believe that we're going to see savings in the extra time, extra cost category to offset any cost associated with those that would participate in the health care. Just because it's offered doesn't mean they're going to take that. So we budgeted a worst case scenario under the pilot program, assuming if everybody took the employee and spouse plan, what would that additional cost be? And it's about $194,000. And we anticipate that we would save that with the extra time cost associated with careers filling in. So we get a greater level of service, more consistency and continuity at no additional cost. After 1 year, we'll evaluate it and determine if we were successful.
Make a motion to approve.
Second. Aye.
Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Mr. Schwarzkopf.
Thank you. I have 4 personnel hires to present tonight. Sharon Crabtree, effective June 16th at $11 an hour. Emily Bass, effective June 27th at $11 an hour. Bruce Carter, effective June 27th at $11 per hour. And Lisa White, effective June 27th at $11 per hour. These will be park permit attendants that we man each park with our park permit program.
So moved.
Second.
Aye.
Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
We have Mr. Mills.
Thank you. Good evening. I've got a number of items this evening. The first is an item in which I'm requesting approval to create the position of part-time planner and proceed with posting that position to identify qualified candidates. As we see the Great Recession moving farther and farther away from us in the rearview mirror, we can see quite a bit of development happening throughout the community. Anecdotally, you can see it driving down Colerain Avenue with the outlets coming online, the final outlets being developed in Stone Creek, and but the data actually bears this out. We're seeing more permits, more applications to zoning commission, more Board of Zoning Appeals permits, and you know, my staff, under the crush of this new, this higher level of service that's being demanded, would benefit greatly from the creation of a part-time position. So I ask that you approve that.
So moved.
Second.
And I just have a couple things to add. Back in 2012, when we significantly downsized the planning department, at that point in time, we riffed a full-time planner, recognizing that at some point in time we would expect an economic recovery, and I think we've seen that, and we've taken on additional responsibilities in the area of foreclosure licenses and vacant properties. So we're doing a lot more. We're creating much greater service than we ever have with less people, and it does come down to customer service. It comes down to the ability to manage the volume with the current staff. The budget that I have set aside is with benefits is $35,000 a year, and it as an overall general fund commitment, the general fund currently commits funds to zoning, parks, and community center. And we have a retirement coming up in the Parks Department, or in the Public Works Department, and we plan to shift a body from the Parks Department into that role and therefore not backfill that position in the Parks Department, which will relieve some financial stress on the general fund. So we're basically going to reallocate resources from that position to fund a part-time planner here. And we're going to start part-time. If we continue to see a lot of growth, we may come back, but right now we think part-time is the way to go.
Aye.
Reinhardt?
Aye.
Ms. Spitter?
Aye.
Second item this evening is the monthly nuisance abatement resolution. This month, we have 51 properties that have been properly investigated and require abatement of either tall weeds and grass or trash. So I ask for the approval of the monthly nuisance abatement resolution.
So moved.
Second. I noticed there's one on here that's a Section 8 property. Do we contact CMHA in that case?
I do.
Interesting, their own internal controls didn't catch that first because they supposedly go around and inspect everything.
It is. So the list that I have of housing choice vouchers is from May of 2013. Last month, there was one also. I contacted CMHA, and it turned out that that address, the owner of that address, was no longer accepting housing choice vouchers. So that was from last month. I'll do the same thing this month.
Perfect, thank you.
Pierce?
Aye.
Reinhardt?
Aye.
Ms. Spitter?
Aye.
Okay, the next two items are actually public hearings, but I didn't notice anyone signing in for the public hearings. They relate to the creation of new lighting districts. So my recommendation would be for the board to open a public hearing on the lighting district for Stone Ridge, Lighting District 3B and 4A. And if no one is available to speak or here to speak, then to immediately close it and approve a resolution creating that new lighting district.
Can do those together?
I should.
Yeah.
I'll move to open the public hearing relative to Stone Ridge Lighting District B.
Second?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone who wishes to speak on that tonight?
Move to close the public hearing.
Second?
Aye.
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 I'll make the motion to open a public hearing on Magnolia Woods Lighting District
Before we do,
A.
I would recommend approval of a resolution.
Oh.
Yeah. Approval of a resolution creating that new lighting district following the public hearing in which there was no input.
Gotcha.
I'll move to approve.
Second?
Yes. Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Ms. Spitter?
Aye.
I was given 2 copies of these resolutions. I'm going to sign both of them. There's a tab on there, too.
I'll move to open the public hearing relative to Magnolia Woods Lighting District 1A.
Second?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Ms. Spitter?
Aye.
Is there anyone here to speak on that tonight? I have no one signed in on that. Is there a motion to close the public
So
hearing?
moved.
Second?
Aye.
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 So then I would recommend, following the public hearing in which there was no input, I recommend the approval of the resolution creating the lighting district called Magnolia Woods Lighting District 1A.
So moved.
Second?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Ms. Spitter?
Aye.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is a request for a public hearing on a preliminary development plan for the Forever Green Landscaping Company located at 7582 Harrison Avenue. I'm requesting that the trustees set the public hearing for Tuesday, August 12th, 2014, 6 p.m. here at the trustee chambers.
So moved.
Second?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Ms. Spitter?
Aye.
The final item I have for you this evening is an initial demolition resolution for the property located at 3337 Pool Road. On June 5th, 2014, the Hamilton County Health District executed what they said was one of 2 search warrants that they've ever executed in the history of their organization at 3337 Pool Road. What they found there was abysmal conditions related to cat feces, human feces, and a basement that was approximately 3 feet deep with sewage. The the condition of the building is deplorable, and while I've seen houses be rehabbed after Cat BC issues, I don't believe that this house falls into that category, and I believe that the only way to move forward with this property is to remediate it and then demolish it. So I'm recommending the approval of an initial demolition resolution for that address. The next steps will be a public hearing and then a final demolition resolution.
So moved.
Second. Aye.
Ms. Meinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Bitter?
Aye.
That moves us on to administration.
Sorry, Jim.
Good evening, members of the board, members of the audience, and those viewing this on Waycross. It is that time once a year to hold our tax budget hearing, and I'd like to, I guess we'd need a motion to open up the hearing, and then I'll go through the presentation.
So moved.
Second?
Ms. Peters?
Aye.
Ms. Meinhardt?
Aye.
Aye.
So just as a recap, for those that may not have seen this presentation in the past, we added a step this year to the budget process where we incorporated capital requests that came from the departments into the budget process. We maintain a 5-year forecast. It's an ongoing fluid document. If we become aware of a change, whether it be a staffing change, a change in pay rate, we track that pretty much on a daily basis. So while the budget process changes throughout the year, we decided to remove the long-term capital items from the actual forecast and make that part of the annual budget so that we could actually review those capital plans. So this year, those capital requests came to my office the end of May. I met with the Financial Advisory Committee on June the 10th. Normally, the role of that committee would be to make recommendations to approve or not approve or modify the budget and present to you. Unfortunately, that particular evening, we were not able to make quorum, so we did hold the meeting. We provided information, but there was no action taken. I do know that tonight in the audience we have a couple members of the FAC here that if you would have any questions, I'm sure they would be glad to answer. The public hearing is being held this evening. The filing deadline for the tax budget is July 20th. It has to be approved by the 15th. You'll note that I put August 6th on there for the filing deadline for any JED Z tax issue for the November 2014 budget. We have that public hearing coming up on July 22nd as we consider moving forward there. Our temporary appropriations, which will give us spending authority for 2015, will be presented to you in December with an effective date of January 14, and then sometime in April, prior to April 1, we'll come back for adopting our permanent appropriations. The development process, the tax budget's the initial step, then we move into the temporary appropriations in December, and then the final appropriations in April the following year. It's important to note that we forecast our expenditures out where we think our trends are going to be, but we do request that the department heads, as part of the appropriation process, justify and provide rationale for anything that they expect. We just don't necessarily provide a 3% increase over last year's budget. They have to provide the rationale and necessity for those funds. I talked a little bit about the 5-year forecasting, something we maintained periodically, daily. We also continue to look at benchmarking as what we've kind of done from a benchmarking perspective is we do our internal benchmarking now annually, but it's more and more difficult to extract external benchmarking from some of our surrounding communities. So we've gone to a every other year external benchmark, but we'll continue to evaluate how we're doing through our dashboard and other mechanisms. And then after 2014, we'll reach out next year and get actual benchmarking data from our peer groups for comparison purposes. Shared services continue to be something that we look at every opportunity to see where there's opportunity to share cost, create greater efficiency. We're currently looking at mutual aid agreements with the various public safety departments. We have relationships with Northwest Schools, Springfield Township, and multiple safety organizations. So some of the 2015 major assumptions. We're continuing to strategically utilize our reserves through 2022. In particular, in the general fund, it is used to support our community center and our Parks and Services Department. Our general fund is not aligned currently. We are eating into our reserves. A lot of that has to do with our debt service that is planned to be retired in 2021. So the goal is after the debt service is retired, that the general fund be totally sustained. There is no funding in the 2015 budget for any public infrastructure for streets. The road levy last expired in 2001, and with the loss of the estate tax and the local government fund revenue, we just don't have the funding to commit to our road program at this time. We have the potential JED-Z revenue for public infrastructure, depending on the outcome of the public hearing on the 22nd and potential action by the board. I point out here that we have identified a need of between $1.2 million and $2 million a year to address our streets. And if we were to commit $2 million a year within a 15-year period, we would be back ahead of the curve. Our streets are in pretty bad shape. We need to find a solution. We don't have one right now. I think the JED-Z provides an opportunity, but even if the JED-Z is approved, we're only anticipating it's going to generate around $1 million. So it doesn't solve all of our problems, but it does meet us halfway there. Public safety, we're seeking sustainability through 2022. This forecast does reflect some potential growth in revenue as a result of economic recovery. I have factored in some inflationary growth in real estate revenue. We continue to evaluate on a daily basis our processes in an effort to reduce cost. And we are also looking at potential regionalization of services. We have a team of public safety, fire, that is actually reaching out to some of our surrounding communities, and we're going to go through a Lean Six Sigma program, and regionalization is going to be something we're going to look at. How can we provide service to a greater area, maybe share resources differently, provide greater service at lower cost? So I recognize that's very difficult to see, and since I don't have my glasses, I can't really see it either. But I think the important thing to note is that the overall 2015 proposed amount is being proposed at a much lesser amount than 2014. Some of the reasons for that are one-time expenditures within the current budget, such as the bearing utilities at the corner project at Springdale and Colerain Avenue. We've got some repayment of loans associated with the police levy. We borrowed some money from the TIF funds, but the explanations are provided over there to the right. Once again, we do a pretty good job from an administrative level, really driving down the cost, trying to sustain ourselves as long as we can with that 2022 vision in mind. That's our goal. We've said many times that we recognize we cannot continue to return to the ballot every 3 to 5 years, 5 to 7 years. We've got to stretch our dollars as long as we can, and we're in a constant mode of continuous improvement. The next several slides just kind of give you what the forecast looks like out to 2022 at the time this was put together. You can see the general fund balances are being depleted going from 2013, I believe that's $6 million roughly, out to 2022 at about $1 million, just over $1 million. So we are utilizing those reserves to maintain the current level of services at our community center and our parks department. Once again, keep in mind that there is not a solution here for anything to do with public infrastructure. Our consolidated road funds, these are the funds that we use to fund the staffing for snow removal, street repairs, all the patchwork we do, the maintenance we do, and you can see that beginning in 2019, we're not aligned there either. So as we look for a solution to address our public infrastructure, we also need to figure out how we're going to align our road funds to be able to continue staffing at the levels we are. Parks and services are a zero balance type thing. We transfer enough money in there to sustain the park program from the general fund each year. Same thing with the community center. Same thing with the zoning department. The police department, with the passage of the levy, we projected a positive cash flow out through 2022. You can see that the excess deficit starts to appear in 2022. So we need to continue to drive cost savings where we can and look for greater opportunities to share and try to stretch those public safety dollars as long as we can. Once again, keep in mind that everything you see here does not include capital request. So those capital requests will be considered annually, and at some point, we may include them in the operating budget but for presentation purposes this evening, they've been removed, with the exception of what we are asking for 2015, which I'll get to in just a moment.
Mr. Rowan, what
Yes.
was your assumption in the model as far as property appreciation every year?
1%. A law enforcement fund, the reason I put this in here, it's one of those smaller funds that we manage, but it became an important factor this year because we purchased some communications equipment, and we're using that as a source of funding. Fire fund, you can see that the levy passed in 2010, was supposed to last to 15. Our latest goal was to make it last till 2018, and now we're trying to push the envelope even out further to 2022. We're not there yet. Our fund balance is down to $1 million in 2021. But once again, I think as we continue to explore opportunities with the public safety director's position and looking to create greater efficiency between the two departments, I'm hoping that we're going to be able to stretch those dollars even longer. EMS fund, same thing. Our outstanding debt is in the presentation. So our capital recommendations for 2015 are going to be highlighted in green. We had a number of requests come from public services in the amount of $369,000, including equipment replacements. At this point in time, I'm not recommending that we make any capital improvements in the area of public services until we have a funding source that we can provide for public infrastructure. Doesn't do any good to have new trucks and plows if we can't sustain a basic infrastructure need. Police Department made a request for $191,008. I'm recommending that we do fund that. That includes various pieces of equipment for evidence, fingerprinting, civil disturbance gear, water rescue gear, motor vehicles for purchase of new vehicles. We'll be trading in 5. 1 additional vehicle is needed for additional staff that will be added in 2015. The upgrade in the communications equipment was a 5-year lease. The board approved that at the previous meeting, but it has been included in the budget for the next 5 years, I believe. That's one item that we have included. Fire department requested $184,000, $80,000 for the EMS remounts, and $104,000 for the next 5 years for upgrade of communications equipment. The technology department made 4 or 5 requests there. One of the things that we're doing is updating our core switches, servers, and phone systems. And part of that has to do with our backup recovery system we're working on. We're recommending approval for the budget. We have not made a decision yet with regards to our telecom services. We're at the end of a year. We're at the end of a contract, and we're doing month to month right now. And so we've got some money budgeted there for next year. I am not recommending a new printer for the fiscal office. We're trying to get away from printers and going more to copy machines. It's a much better way to print and save money. Some software upgrades for fire department and public works. And the parks department was asking for a new copy machine, and I'm not recommending that at this point in time either. I guess maybe that's it, because it's not going any further. So at that point in time, I would entertain any questions that the board may have regarding the budget.
Good presentation, good job.
Thanks, Jim.
Wish the story was better.
Make a motion to close.
Second.
We're just closing the public hearing at this point.
Oh, no one signed in to speak on the budget tonight. Was there anyone who wished to speak? Does not appear so.
I did. Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Bitter?
Aye.
So my next recommendation then would be to ask the board to approve the 2015 proposed budget in the amount of $29,241,558.
So moved.
Second. Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Aye.
My next item would be to recommend supplemental appropriation changes in the amount of $91,466 for 2014. The reasons for the supplemental appropriations is the salt necessary to refill our dome after last winter exceeded our budget by $32,050. And then last month, we approved a change order for the paving out back, and that money is needed to continue to maintain the roads maintenance program in the amount of $59,416.
So moved. Second. Aye.
Reinhardt?
Aye.
Aye.
My last item is a recommendation to re-enroll in the 2015 group rating program through the Ohio Township Association and Frank Gates. This is really our only option other than going to a group retro or an individual rated program. I think this is a greater opportunity for us to save money without putting any township funds at risk. So right now, I would recommend that we participate in the group rating program for.
So moved. Second. Aye.
Reinhardt?
Aye.
Aye.
I believe that moves us on to Ms. Harlow.
The approval of minutes from previous meetings here. We have the minutes from the regular meeting of May 15th, 2014.
I have no corrections.
Or do I?
I have nothing.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
The regular meeting of June 10th.
I have nothing.
Nor aye.
All right. Make a motion to approve June 10th.
Second.
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Okay, and then last but not least, the special meeting of June 16th.
I have nothing.
All right.
Nor aye. Move to approve.
Second.
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Okay. And I'd like to ask for the board's usual approval of payroll, purchase orders, and receipts.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Dieters?
Aye.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
And I've received a notice from the Ohio Division of Liquor Control for a stock change for Amazy Business Ideas, Inc., DBA La Canasta Grocery, 7812 Colerain Avenue. Spoke to Chief Denny and Mr. Mills about this, and neither see the need for a hearing. So if you all agree, we'll move forward. Okay. Thank you very much.
Mr. Rowan, is there any further need for executive session tonight? A motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Aye.
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 Have a good night, everyone.